Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Ainu Izzati binti Syamsuddin. My metric number is 055552. I will explain in regards to the chapter 5 of the Sexual Offences Act 2022. So first of all is the offences of verbal and physical harassment, which has been provided under section 16 of this act. This provision represents Western jurisprudence. The reason that this provision is being included due to the act of verbal and physical harassment is regarded as offensive, humiliating, or intimidating, especially towards the victim. It is behavior that can make someone feel uncomfortable. It also can occur in a private place or in a public place. The effect of the harassment may lead to long-lasting effect towards the victim, including leading to chronic pain, depression, or anxiety. Thus, the provision in regards to these matters is really important and necessary in order to prevent this act from continuing. The relation of this with Western jurisprudence is, in natural law, it has been defined that law must be in line with moral. According to Aquinas, all human actions are governed by a general principle or precept that is foundational to and necessary for all practical reasoning. Good is to be done and evil is to be avoided. This principle is not something we can ignore or defy. Hence, as the act of harassment is immoral and cannot be regarded as a good act, due to this act is considered as an infringement or invading someone's privacy. Therefore, it needs to be prevented and fought in accordance with the theory stated by Aquinas earlier. Next is in regards to the offences of the acts of lasciviousness which provided under section 17. This provision represents Western jurisprudence. The reason this provision is included is due to the act of lasciviousness is considered as immoral sexual actions. It can be by words or thoughts. It is a repugnant act and may disgrace the victim, as this act is to satisfy the desire of the person that committed this act by forcing others to do the sexual actions towards him or done it by himself. Either way, both are immoral acts and can make the victim develop such as post-traumatic stress disorder due to having been forced to do the unwanted act. The relation of this offense with the Western jurisprudence is by morality. Natural law theory is a legal theory that recognizes law and morality as deeply connected, if not one and the same. According to this theory, morality relates to what is right and wrong and what is good and bad. Natural law theorists believe that human laws are defined by morality and not by an authority figure, like a king or a government. Therefore, we humans are guided by our human nature to figure out what the laws are and to act in conformity with those laws. The term of natural law is derived from the belief that human morality comes from nature and everything in nature has a purpose, including humans. The purpose, according to natural law theories, is to live a good, happy life. Hence, the relation between the natural law theory with acts of lasciviousness, as the meaning of moral is derived from nature to lead a good and happy life, thus the acts of lasciviousness should be prevented, as it is far from the meaning of morality that has been explained and provided. Also, under natural law, it has been stated that actions that work against the purpose of natural law, that is, actions that will prevent a fellow human from living a good, happy life, are considered unnatural or immoral. Thus, as the act of lasciviousness may be regarded that it will prevent a fellow human from living a good, happy life, are considered unnatural or immoral, as it is an act of forcing others to do the unwanted act in order to fulfill one's desire. It is not amount to the happy life and will be discourage others to be happy by just fulfilling the desire, which is immoral. The next offences is under section 18, which provides regarding the molestation. This provision represents Western jurisprudence. The reason why this provision is being included is because of the act of molestation is widened nowadays, and the provision in regards to this is crucial and necessary in order to protect a person, especially minors, from the offences of molestation. This act may disgrace or dishonor the victim, such as by the conduct of taking of pornographic pictures, as the pictures that taken might be shared especially to the social media and may embarrass the victim. The victim of this act may commit suicide due to over-embarrassed, although it is not their fault. Most people might think that this act is a crime because it is harassment and consider it as that it can cause a bad effect on society due to it being immoral. The relation of this provision with the Western jurisprudence, according to Durkheim, under sociological theory, an act is criminal when it is perceived as offending the collective conscience, which is a totality of belief and sentiments common to average citizens of the same society. Durkheim agrees that within morality there is an element of obligation. He asserts that morality is characterized not just by this obligation, but is also something that is desired by the individual. The individual believes that by adhering to morality, they are serving the common good, and for this reason, the individual submits voluntarily to the moral commandment. Based on this, immorality is not just according to individuals, but must benefit all. Thus, to satisfy the desire of one person does not mean that others must sacrifice their happiness. In accordance with this, the act of molestation is not an obligation to follow in the first place due to it being an immoral act, and also just to fulfill the criminal satisfaction, but give bad effect towards the society and victim. This is due to by committing this act, the victim may commit suicide, and this is perceived as offending the collective conscience, as the society, especially in Malaysia, highly valued the value of decency. Lastly, pursuant to Section 19, provided in regards to the matter of illegal stalking, this provision represents Western jurisprudence. The reason why this provision is included is in order to protect the person that have been gone through with this offense. Illegal stalking is an unwanted and or repeated surveillance by an individual or group toward another person. Hence, this act may terrify the person who is being stalked and would bother that person due to being followed by the other person who may be a total stranger to the victim. This act does not have a reasonable grounds, as it is not reasonable for someone to be followed by another person, which causes him or her to be terrified or in grievance due to that event. The relation of this offense with the Western jurisprudence, as has been defined by Stoics, the natural law jurists, which hold that the entire world is governed by a rational mind or reason, which draws a distinction between right and wrong. Thus, the law is the result of one's concept of right and rectitude in light of reason. However, the act of illegal stalking is an unreasonable act, as there is no motive for someone to commit this act. The person must do reasonable things and be governed by a rational mind. Nevertheless, the act of illegal stalking shows that the person who committed this act may have psychological problems, as this act is not reasonable and does not give right or justify the act is good due to it being terrifying. This act also might contain manipulative, threatening, obscene, or harassing words. Thus, it can be said that this act is not reasonable due to someone with rational mind would have not committed this act. So that's all from me. Thank you.